Welcome, everybody. This is episode number 14 of Junior Resource Investing. As always, this is me, your host, Matthew. Before we get started, again, as always, just a disclaimer, right? This is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. My guests are not financial advisors. We are not here to tell you what to do with your money. We are here to explore and discuss specific plays, and what you decide is your own doing, right? So please speak to an actual financial advisor before you make any investment purchases. I am pleased now to present our latest guest, though, Marcel Robillard, President and CEO of Puma Exploration. Puma Exploration is a Canadian exploration company focused on discovering gold ore bodies in an area that is emerging as a new gold camp near the famous Bathurst mining camp of New Brunswick in Canada. It burst onto the scene with a 5.5 gram, this is rough speaking here, 5.5 gram over 50 meters discovery at their Williams Brook land package in 2021, and have been working on proving its potential ever since. It trades under the ticker PUMA, Puma, on the TSXV, and on the OTCQB under PUMXF. Marcel, this is our first time getting a chance to speak face-to-face. It's nice to meet you. How are you?
Oh, very good. Thank you, Matthew, to have me here this morning. I really appreciate the opportunities to talk a little bit more about Puma. So, pretty good. Yes. Thank
Perfect. You. And I'm glad you're here. It's an interesting story. So we always start out, same basic question I always ask is just, 30-second elevator pitch. If you only had 2 minutes to pitch Puma to somebody, what would you tell them?
First is you pretty did a good job to introduce me. So basically, Puma Exploration is looking for high-grade gold mineralization in Atlantic Canada. So a small junior company based out from Quebec. We're doing exploration in that area for the last 20 years, so really well known from the government, stakeholder, First Nation. And what is the most exciting, very high-grade gold, all drilled and found at surface. So early stage project, so a lot of room for expansion and doing our own work to apply our discovery model. So one of the best places in the world, small province of Canada, well located, infrastructure in place, road access, low-cost exploration in Canada, safe jurisdiction. So basically, that is one of the best thing about Puma: location, high-grade gold, all surface.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, and you touched on a number of things we're going to touch on throughout the interview here, right? On surface, great jurisdiction, and I think maybe the thing that's most alluring to me is that you've had that discovery, you've got that big discovery under your belt. You've got proof of concept for your land package, but then the prices come back, right? So this is a unique opportunity for people to get in on the ground floor, something that's already been de-risked geologically. So you have been at Puma since 2009, and Puma has kind of undergone a couple of different iterations of itself, and we'll get into that later, but why don't you kind of discuss what took you to Puma, and how did you get there, and then how did you feel your time since then?
Okay, thank you. Basically, I'm a background geologist, so I did my all the study in geology and the master as well in GIS in Montreal. So at that time, I moved to be working in Noranda, so exactly in New Brunswick. So the beginning of my career, I used to be geologist. Then I've been invited to work with a small company here in Rimouski. So as a background geologist, I've been looking for a project manager, but always in that part of the world, which is New Brunswick, Eastern Canada. So we're based in Rimouski. That was the place because we go on North Shore, Gaspé Peninsula, and then New Brunswick as well. So then, I've been doing it up to 2009. We put three different company on the stock exchange, and I took care of Puma Exploration in 2009 as president and CEO of the company. So since 2009, I'm running the company. So basically, about 15 years of real geologist work on site, and since 2009, I'm doing more management and marketing and trying to raise money for the company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's always a two-headed beast, right? The geology and the financings, absolutely. So why don't you run us through then? So you had a transition, and again, this is coming up later, but you transitioned from searching for base metals, copper, to gold a few years back. Could you just run us through your geologist team? I mean, who do you have? What experience do they have with gold-bearing quartz vein systems? And can you just kind of run us through their resumes, I suppose, a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. Our main guy on site is Dominic Gagny. I've been working with him since the beginning in 2007. So now we're friends. We're working together since that time. And he's really, really like an high knowledge of Appalachian rock. So again, for him as well, he used to be always working in the Bathurst camp area. Like at the beginning, he was mainly a geologist for me when I've been named CEO of the company. But now, he's running his own consultant company. So that's Dominic Gagne and Juminex. And also with that, I have team about 5 different geologists right now on site, which has almost, I mean, we have a really nice mix of, I like experienced guy with up to 25 years, like Alan Upe used to be working with me as well. So, people, team together have been working mostly 15 years together. So it's a really nice tight structure. But what we drive us to went from base metal, because we were looking for base metal, lead, zinc, and copper in the Bathurst camp, because that was renowned for years and years on the base metal site. Like one of the biggest VMS camp in the world, biggest underground zinc mine was the Brunswick 12 mine. So that's the reason why that everybody was looking for a big elephant like the Brunswick 12. But then in 2019, I don't know if you remember, but all that favor about Atlantic Canada when you found gold, Marathon gold, and all those major discovery went on site. And, there's a lot more marketing on those. We decided, me and Dominic, that it was time to look for something else because in 2019, we did a rollback 10 for 1. So we said, okay, we have a new structural capital structure, and now we have a new focus. But the thing is, that part of the Bathurst camp was never explored, not just for gold, but almost nothing. Because when there's a big company like Noranda, but now it's Glencore, holding claim, they had about 80% of the claim in the Bathurst area. So when you hold that, they have enough money to keep the claim without doing too much work. And then because those rock where we are working are a bit younger, nobody really care about that up to the time that major discovery. So me and Dominic said, why don't move? So what we did, we organized a spin-off because there were a lot of work and discovery done on the base metal side. But I said Puma will be directed on gold discovery, similar gold high grade has everything else in Atlantic Canada. But doing that, I cannot put the hat of going raise money and marketing like base metal coming back. Oh no, I have gold and coming back copper. So we said Puma will be gold, 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 all within about 25 kilometers radius where most of the ground was open. So a part of was a deal with prospector, maybe 50% stake, and then uh, it took a year to do organize a spin-off of the copper play, and now we did the copper spin-off on Canadian Copper. So the symbol is CCI on the Canadian Stock Exchange. And since July, now they are trading. So we're one of the biggest shareholders of the CCI. So our shareholder have kind of an exposure on base metal because I'm really still bullish on copper, but I really want to focus on gold. So I kind of return, monetize something that were on the shelf for a little bit of time and really put the effort on the gold. CCI will take care of the copper. So since then, we start working on that O'Neill discovery, which was only one grab sample in the cliff. And now with all the experience, permitting, easy permitting, access to ground, all crown land. So my team was really, really successful. And we're doing really systematic work. So we're really doing like technical data, collect data, and doing real job, which is great when you are in the brand new area. Sometimes said, oh, you need to find a mine beside the mine. Yes, it's true, but you need to find the first mine. Then everybody will find mines around your mine. So that's a bit our strategy here. You do real work, find a big mine, and then we saw since maybe 2 years a lot more people working in the area. We experienced as well a claim rush in that northern part of New Brunswick. So there's another company in southern New Brunswick, but most of it is Puma is one of the most aggressive company out there in the field.
And
Sorry,
yeah,
Matthew. Sometimes I get lost and I talk too much, so just stop me when you can, okay? Yeah.
no, I love it. I love it. It's great information, and
Okay,
you're anticipating a lot of questions coming up, so that works out well for me too. So why don't
good.
we? You touched on jurisdiction, so why don't you run us through? New Brunswick obviously actually is, it's British Columbia, Nevada, these places that are more famous, but New Brunswick has a long history of mining and is a fairly advantageous place to do business there as a mining or exploration company. I mean, you've got a majority green energy, right? So from that perspective, I think it's over 70% green energy in the province. If I'm not wrong, it's year-round access, right? So where you can drill year-round, right? And then yeah, why don't you run us through? I mean, the part that I think is also again a big get for we can't decide where deposits lay, but it sure is nice when they're close to infrastructure. So can you run us through why it is so advantageous for Puma where you are in terms of location with infrastructure and transportation?
Yeah, for sure. And you said you don't select where the deposit is. It's totally true, but you can choose where you look for, though, because now all the world changes. It's not just the kind of deposit, the size, or the grade now matters. I mean, there's a lot more other stuff matter. Exactly as you said, the infrastructure, all the inflation, the cost, how much
Mm,
it's cost to get there. Not just once you're gonna find the mine, but just doing the exploration. We have road access,
mm,
exactly what you've said. There's a paved road crossing the property, like right in the middle. So now we're drilling only 2 kilometers south of the road. So that road is open like 12 months a year. And as well, permitting is easy. So what we start and what we want to do is doing as much trenching and stripping at surface, so which allow us because the access is pretty good. So we don't need like airplane, we don't need helicopter. We have that, and also that the new kids on the block that they want to work with us, they want now Wi-Fi, they want Instagram, they want all those tools that we can provide to them. So we have access to labor because it's not just having a lot of cash and great project. You need people to work
mm,
on, and having that location. We're 25 kilometers away from a town, so there's bar, restaurant, like all the places, gas. So really low cost, one great place to live. And New Brunswick, it's a really small province. I think there's about 1 million people only. So I can talk to the government. I can have a
mm,
dinner with the minister, which I cannot in Quebec and Ontario, probably not BC neither. So
mm,
because as well to be working there for 15 years, I know well the First Nation. We have signed a MOU with the First Nation, and just here, just a little gossip. The chief now has been working for us 15 years ago as an employee. So doing business in the same place for a long time and be honest with those people, that's bring you a lot more credit for later on. So that's a little bit it. Permitting is pretty easy. You can request a permit and have the permit within 3 weeks. Which is totally different. So you don't have to always wait. We had some story that people were asking a permit to drill on ice, and when they get the permit, there were no more ice on the lake. So it doesn't happen in New Brunswick. You do the work, you can do what you want, and also yeah, beside all the coast that most is private land, then within the core of the province, the land, it's all crown land. So it's always easier to do exploration on crown land because you can request a permit. And that new thing now is not in my backyard. So we need like all the metals but no mines. So that's a little bit different when you are on crown land with a good relationship with the stakeholder. And the last mine was running in New Brunswick was the Kerbu mine, which is base metal mine shut down about like 2 months ago. So really good incentive for the government to be working there. So paved road, only 3 hours drive away from the site, from the head office, which is in Rimouski. So I can be there in the morning, 11 o'clock, go over the site and come back to get my kids to the daycare and come back. So it's really great for all that, and mainly is the gold potential, because gold potential is us all to be built because we can use our own understanding of what else has been done. Like Marathon is almost in Newfoundland, is a lot more advanced. They are now construction phase. So we call them kind of a big brother. We look what they are doing. We request their own consultant that they use. So, even if there's no mine right now, we can have a lot more access to all the information and the expert in the area.
yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. No,
Yeah.
excellent. Thank you. That's a thorough answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, you discussed something that obviously is a little different for precious metals, but I mean there is such a massive long-term thesis in terms of the need for base metals and battery metals, right? So yeah, it's
Yeah.
not quite the story here today, but yeah, your spin-off company there absolutely kind of fits that bill too, right? Why don't we kind of scale back here and just discuss kind of more boilerplate things here? Pardon me. Share structure. Can you just run through for us here, and I'll bring up a visual for people that are watching. Options, warrants, institutional versus retail. Can you just run through that for us?
Yes, for sure. So we have about like 20 million shares out for outstanding. If we're looking fully dilute is 150 million shares. We did a rollback in 2019, so that's what brought the stock from 237 at the time to about like 23. Since that time, 4 years, since 4 years, for sure, when you do that, there's a part of a floating time. Now, we got really great shareholder last year, for sure, with the discovery of 5 grams over 50 meters, we had a lot more highs on the story. So that bring a lot of more, look and shareholder. We're having kind of daily trading about 300,000 to 400,000 shares a day, which is pretty good on that currently market. You know that
Mm.
there's we can see more sellers than buyer right now. So not just us, but everywhere. So having nice liquidity that's helped. So that base of 120 million shares out, I hold about like 3 million shares of it. Me and the management is about 4%. But as Puma, we don't have management really. I'm the only employee. So we have director, 6 director. And since we did the rollback in 2019, then we had like 3 more director. So they are now accumulating a little bit, but also we need at least 3 independent director.
Mm-hmm.
So all the other like the consultant, we have like friends and family that they are holding about 30% of the shares, but they are really really tightly held on that side. The institution is the one that they just got in was the Crescat Capital about a year ago, a hedge fund from Denver, and when with one of his experts is Dr. Quinton Enning, which is a
Mm-hmm.
specialist in epithermal and orogenic gold. They are also involved in the Newfound gold and those play in Newfoundland. This is about probably about 5% of the company. The other institutional in the deal is Plethora Precious Metal Fund out from Amsterdam and Caisse de Dépôt, which is about 1 million share. So there's the only 3 institutional investor right now. All the rest are previous shareholders that they have been followed the company since about a few years now. So
Mm-hmm.
Crescat got involved at 32 cents in the private placement last year. Last raise we did was $5 million at 50 cents. It was flew through with a part of our dollars at 40 cents. So we have, as you mentioned, we have option and warrant that they are into the structure. And one thing is we have about, I think, 13 million warrant at roughly 25 cents that they are expiring in December. So we are looking to make those warrant exercise to bring more money in the treasury. So we had 10 cents warrant this summer in July. They have all been exercised. So that's brought another 1.7 million in the treasury. So as we speak right now, we have 1.5 million cash in the treasury. As you said earlier, we can drill 12 months a year. So right now we are just got back the assays from the drilling. So the burning rate right now is pretty low, is about 250. And what we want to do is to get all the work done on the trenching and stripping, which is a lot less expensive than drilling. So now we're doing all that compilation, all the 3D information to get those high grade shoe to drill. So we're going to be drilling back in January. So 250 a month of burning rate. We'll see what the warrant because we're shy a little bit to make them exercise. We're trading about 20 cents. The strike price is 25, so
Mm-hmm.
which is 15 up to 25 cents. So then in the first quarter of 2023, we'll see if the market turn a bit, what is the spirit of all the gold market, and then we're going to decide a bit if we have to go back in the market to raise more money, or we'll see the financial. So now I'm not looking up to Christmas to look for money for sure. So that's a bit the time that what we do. It's compared to the other is when the market is not too good is we try to do the opposite and do a lot of marketing because if there's 10,000 company out there you have to choose within 10,000. Now if there's a lot of companies stopping doing marketing and promoting because it said it
Yeah.
doesn't turn and you're only 2,000, so then you're 1 over 2,000 instead of 1 over 10. So once the timing will be back, we'll be ready we're going to have a lot of eyes on Puma, and hopefully it's going to be shown on the market side as well, not just on the field. The one thing good though is we get a lot of high grade gold, so nobody will take it from the ground as long as we have the claim. Nobody else than Puma will take it. So what is the strategy? Is to get a little bit according the program and the budget according to the real market, but we don't stop anything because what we did was systematic. So we have some time that we need to wait result, wait the interpretation. So that's the reason why we don't need to be having always 10 drills on site, because the money is so hard to raise and it's so important for the investor to have the return on the buck. We want to get the best return on their investments and not, most of all the money raise is put into the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, because I'm a geologist as well, so I really like the rock. I really like to find stuff. So better than a nice car, what I would say. Yeah,
Yeah, good on you. No, good
yeah,
on you. And that's I appreciate that. It's drilling for the sake of drilling, especially in poor market conditions, is a dangerous game to play because that's a really easy way to run out of money and then have to go cap in hand to the market at a time when the market is a very expensive time to raise that. So, I appreciate deliberate exploration. I also find it interesting a lot. Not probably I would say most companies I speak to haven't changed their in light of weaker market conditions, have not changed their approach, but those that have kind of turtled, right? They've gone into hibernation mode a bit. So I find it interesting that you are kind of going against the stream there and actually trying to raise awareness now. And it makes sense, right? If you can get people aware of your story now, when in 6 months from now, when the sector starts to catch a bid again, or whenever that happens, you've got people that know your story. No, that's interesting.
the thing
One.
as well, Matthew, if you can leave me a minute, is because the way that the project is and the property itself is, we have 46,000 hectares. And now, one of the problem we have is where are we going? So there's a lot of work. We don't want to do exploration, grassroots exploration by drilling. Once we're out at the stage to drill is because we know we're going to hit something. And
Mm,
one of the big advantage on New Brunswick, there's really, really little overburden. So, there's about 6 feet maximum of gravel and, loose over the rock. So, and then the permitting is easy. So why drill blind? Drill, drill,
mm,
drill. Just an example, when you do a trenching day, it costs about $1,000. When you're doing a drilling day, it's about $15,000. And then when you do a trench, to me, as a geologist, it's like having a drill hole of about 1 meters wide, and you can go probably like 500 meters long right at surface. So that's kind of horizontal drilling, which is like a lot bigger than one hole. So for sure, people want to have drill result because they're used to have drill result to make their decision to make an investment or not. But as we are lucky, we don't need that. For sure, we need to drill then to see the 3D, to see, the other direction. But as we did all the work, that surface zone, we get about like 5,000 sample, grab sample. When we drill, we come up with the same kind of similar result at depth. So now, once we're going to do trenching and getting grab sample everywhere else, then we know that we should have something below
mm,
because we get that. So we like that zone at length for us is kind of go to school and apply that everything we understood and learn on that zone on the 46,000 hectares. So, that was a long answer, but the reality is we don't need at the stage that we are now to always drill to make great discovery because there's so much places to build and increase, the inventory of gold before drilling that it's just good now because, we want to be drilling. And even if I had like 25 million in my treasury, I would not start drilling right now because I really want to drill and have a really high rate
mm.
of success when I'm drilling.
No, excellent. No, and excellent strategy. And I mean, it serves your advantage so much that it's at surface, right? I mean, you have assays from surface that are providing gold assay gold per ton, right? So that's exciting.
Yeah.
And you say well, right? I mean, Williams Brook, your land package links Cougar and Puma. No, links Cougar and Jaguar.
Yeah.
There's there's
You
really
need a
no.
link, yeah? It's all capped.
Yeah, yeah. If you get, you'll have to be careful. You'll start running out of animals here if you get too successful, eh?
Yeah,
Um,
up to the time I don't go to kitten, it's good.
yeah.
No?
Yeah. So yeah, but I mean, but you said it yourself. You referenced it that Williams Brook, there is very little historical exploration there, right? I mean, I think it's
Yeah.
kind of a 1 or 2 kilometer square area that had a few holes poked into it. But so I think a lot of the times you have companies who, and I don't want to say that they're not scams, but they repackage old discoveries. They poke in a twin hole. Oh wow, right? We got 50 meters of 3 grams. But if you look back 20 years ago, somebody did the exact same thing. For
Yeah.
you, for Puma, this is, like you said, right? Glencore held it, and it wasn't explored at all. So this is like a legitimately new discovery, which is exciting, right? There's not many of those, especially in a tier 1 jurisdiction like New Brunswick in Canada, right?
Yeah.
So could you just maybe run through what information then, maybe, and like even just break it down, right? Like holes and meters that you had on file for you when you took over the land package, and then what above ground exploration was done when you took over.
Yeah. So it was exactly well explained, Matthew. That part of the area, there's two reasons. The first is Bathurst camp is just located east of those two major faults. So that ground was worked only back in 2008 by just one company. They've been working about 2 years only. And it's funny because they put up a really nice hole at that time. It was about 54 grams over 3 meters gold. But you know what? Following the discovery and the potential of that grab sample, we didn't even work that area since this year. So just to give you an example, how big is and how prospective the land package is that we said, okay, we're going to go there once we're going to really control how to find the gold. And this is where we did at the Lanks Gold Zone. Now this summer, when we went back on Lanks and not Lanks, but on Cougar and Jaguar, we knew already there were holes there. So that's about like maybe about 2,000 meters only
Hmm.
in about like say 18 holes. And when we looked the holes at the time was not drilled. All the promoters say that, oh, they have not drilled in the right direction. That deposit was there and they drilled underneath. So yes, there's a part of it, but also knowing where to look, because the gold that we find is really at the contact with two rock type, the
Hmm.
rhyolite and the sediment. Same thing as they found out in Marathon with where they have 5 million ounces of gold. So just a little bit. And the thing is, when in 2008 they move away because gold in 2008 was not so great. And when I read the report, they don't even believe that 54 grams over 3 meters. They said, oh, that's one nugget. So they move away anyway on that because Marathon and Newfound Gold was not discovered. So about maybe like as I said, 2,000 meters of drilling only. And what happened is the ground there in New Brunswick was left. So prospector took a little bit of ground. That part was all break in maybe like 6, 7 different prospector. So if you ask me what kind of survey they has done at the time, a little bit of soil survey, but just enough to keep the claim in good standing.
Hmm.
That prospector do maybe $5,000, $10,000 every 2 years to keep the claim. So
Hmm.
we have patchy spot with soil, patchy spot with IP survey, and few drilling, not that much, and one grab sample of 50 grams. So we move from there, and just looking at geology, we're really, really based on geology. We're not drilling geophysical map. We're drilling anomaly within the good rock, the map of the geology, and we knew the contact was the favorable host rock. So since then, we just apply trenching and stripping, which we learned how to do since the 15 years. If you're looking for base metal or gold, the technique behind it is the same. Having the permit, doing a trench, take as much sample as you can, then wait to get the assays. And when you have something great, you increase that zone as a
Hmm.
stripping, and that's what we did at length. Now it's 700 meters long. Figure out, like almost 2,000 feet long by about 100 meters wide. It's all stripped. So, if there's a mine, it's already pre-stripping mine. I mean, we could already take the gold from it. So that was the area. And then we had more. So we did about 18 deals with prospector and owner. So we put all that together, but piece by piece, because we didn't want to get too much neither if it was not worth it to get those ground. So since then, every time we had a brand new discovery, to be honest, we stake and then we announce the discovery. But anyway, we don't stake the entire land. So
Hmm.
now, we're 46,000 hectares, and where we've been working, the Lang Zone never had any drilling on it. few grab sample, no trenching neither, few survey. So yes, you're totally right, Matthew, when you say, I have a really, really great technical team, and I'm proud of it because it's not like you said, just redrill old stuff because we could go back and redrill the 54 grams over 3 meters, but then we did better by drilling 5 grams over
Mm-hmm.
50 on our target. And the other good thing is, sometimes with previous survey, location is not so obvious. So sometimes you start thinking that it could be somewhere in the other places, but now with all the GPS, all the ways you locate stuff, so it's better. And then when you have like for like me, a CEO of company, and when you see others previous survey, let's say that geologists come, oh, you should do that survey, and say, yeah, but there's something done in '76. You don't want to spend more money, but now nothing was done. So we launch our own VTEM. So we decide ourselves which survey we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And that VTEM survey, which is a MAG, EM, and then the radiometric, that's almost $1 million. So that's a big investment. But the thing is, we already had that discovery in hand. And then all the new survey that we're doing, we want to see the signature of what is already done. So the opposite of doing mini survey and test the target, we already had the target in hand, and then we did survey to see similarities as well. So to help us, on the big size, we use intelligent artificial intelligence AI, company. We had two,
Mm-hmm.
which gave us some targeting tool to locate so really, really detected on the technique and data directed.
Mm-hmm. And you have a working thesis, right? This is again, if people, my repeat or return viewers, I always talk about this, but you have a working geological thesis, and you're applying that to other areas of your land package that match that, right? Or geophysical thesis, right? So no, yeah, it's your company checks boxes for me. A couple of just kind of rapid fire questions here. First off, how many meters have you put into the ground to date in your land package?
Puma, 12,000 meters.
Twelve
So we
thousand.
start with the 2,000 meters where we did the discovery hole, which is the 5 grams over 50. And this year we launched our biggest program for Puma, 10,000 meters, all systematical, close space drilling to locate those horseshoes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
12,000 meters only.
Yeah, and we'll talk about 2023 in a minute here. But so then, just quickly, yeah, just like I say, so how many rigs? One, two? How many rigs do you have going?
Right now, we don't have any. So as I said, what we've done is we drilled 10,000 meters. Everything was done and finalized in August. And as you probably know, there's about 2, 3 months to get all the
Mm-hmm.
assays back from the lab now. So we get those assays. We have published the assays. Now all the information, the data are at our consultant, a geologist. What we are doing is the 3D modeling. So right now, we don't have any rig. The rig is on site but not working. So we have one rig, but she's not drilling. She's waiting that we tell them to drill again. And it's going to be right now, as long now we have a snowstorm this morning, so I don't know if it's going to change something. But we were planning to do trenching and stripping up to mid-December because as long as you can have the two eyes and the two boots on ground, we prefer to do trenching and stripping because we can drill 12 months. For sure, I'm not outside at minus 40. My team is, so I don't mind to be drilling winter time. But this is it. So it's, at least they are in town. So that's exactly what we are doing. No drill right now. We're just targeting to be more efficient on our next drilling program.
No, thank you. I should have clarified. I did mean, yeah,
Yeah,
how many, yeah, the drill for your 2022-23 campaign. Yeah, one drill.
yeah.
No, thank you. And then what is the cost of drilling? What's the cost per meter?
It's about right now $300 Canadian, which is include everything. So the food, lodging, assays, and that it is the first drilling program for Puma. We took a lot of sampling. So just to give you an idea, on the $300, basically the most high cost is for sure the drilling operation. So everybody now experience like inflation. So when you put gas in your truck, you see the difference. It's all also the same on site. So for sure, we're pretty lucky to not have helicopter or having aerial access, so which is
Mm-hmm.
no camp on site. So for sure, the food is a bit higher price right now. When you pay steak or anything, but that's little money. Just to give you an example, last year we were about $200. So within a year, we gained about 100. And the other thing is the assays, because that's it's a pretty early stage exploration program. We we sample almost the entire hole because we want to see the gold content, but also we want to know where there's no gold because that's the way we're going to figure out where to optimize the next drilling. So we could probably cut by three about the assays cost right now because sometimes we take, let's say, 30 centimeters assays, a core interval, and sometimes 50. Once we're going to know more the deposit and the way, so maybe it's going to be one sample instead of three. Now we really
Mm-hmm.
need to differentiate the kind of veins. If there's also something in the hanging wall and the footwall, once that will be really known, then we're going to save on that. But
Mm-hmm.
$300 is roughly everything, food,
Mm-hmm.
everything. So yeah, so
All
we
in,
get
all in.
surprised. We got surprised. Yeah,
And
about that high cost. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
no, 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 no. You've made a good point there. I mean, it's you're still in a kind of a scientific, technical discovery phase of the exploration, right? It's you had impressive results, right? But yeah, you're still very much just trying to learn and understand your land package because there is such an absence of historical data to go off of, right? So just yeah, that's good clarification.
Yeah.
So how many assays are left outstanding from your 10,000 meters this year? Have they all been released, or what's left to release for you?
Yes, the drilling for the exploration are all released. What we have to be releasing now, the last work that we are now conducting is recovery tests, met tests,
Mm,
metallurgical tests, because now we know with the drilling the 10,000 meters, we have confirmed the mineralization from surface to about the 100 meters. We have like really nice drill success in it. The thing now we want to go is to see what would be the recovery, what is the quality of that gold mineralization, and the only way to do it, we did the early tests, that we get some results during the fall. We're going to release that to the market. But what we want now, we were too surprised about the gold recovery on that. So we're doing a bigger test. We're going to be announcing exactly what we're doing. So now the goal is to see the quality of the gold on site. So we have about 8 holes drilled for met test. So those drill results will be out as well. But then, what we are getting to the market is all the other surface exploration that we're doing,
mm-hmm,
like the
mm-hmm,
Cougar new discovery and the Jaguar new discovery. So we've got many good news to come. And to be honest, we've been a bit quiet in the news during the summertime because we're mostly all, really, really on doing the drilling and get the assays. And as you said, most of the investor and the broker are on the golf course. So, they didn't look our news anyway. So now since September, I think we got the news out every week or 2 weeks. And we're
mm-hmm,
going to keep doing that news flow, up to Christmas. For sure, during the Christmas time, we have always a bit of,
mm-hmm.
break for my team. They have been working hard and myself as well. But we're going to go back early in January for that.
No, and you're right. I mean, it seems like every week there is new trench samples of 50 grams, 100 grams, yeah, that you're releasing to the market. So just to clarify, when might the market expect the met testing from links to be released?
The med test itself, because we're going to doing a really significant one. So we're going to announce what we're going to do. And I would say first quarter of 2023.
First quarter
And
23.
yeah, but then we should have some drill result because what we did on the met test, we take HQ core, half of it was sent to the lab to do the recovery test, and the other half was cut in two to get some assays, like regular assays for the drilling. So we should have another 8 holes drill, which was based on drilling those quartz vein to get the met test result, and that will be done. And the met test itself will be about 90 days. That's what they told us, but as you know, the consultant, I expect 120 if it's not 150. But
Yeah.
it's always the same. So yeah.
Yeah, whatever they say, take it and double it, right? Yeah, that's you won't be disappointed. Yeah.
Oh,
So I know that obviously these plans are always fluid, right? But can you just run through maybe what you can tell us in terms of expectations for your 2023 drilling campaign, right? Meters, holes, where you're going to be targeting.
yes. Basically, even if we found new good zone at Cougar and Jaguar, it's just for us to put all the piece together, the puzzle together, to see a camp, potentially a camp, new camp, and put that into epithermal, low sulfidation, high sulfidation, or organic, to see the model. So to find more gold zone everywhere, that's help us to see the significance of what we have. That, if there's gold everywhere, it should have a big sources everywhere. So that has been said. all the work, now the most significant work is directed on the length zone. Length zone is 700 meters long, really drilled. So now we're doing a met test to see the quality in light of getting a flow sheet for a bulk sample in spring. So because those nugget effect coarse grain gold type, sometimes you drill a hole, you get 50 grams. You drill, let's say, 10 meters beside it, you get like 25 grams, which is still pretty good, but you can drill another 5 meters and get 2 grams. So that, it just has to, this is the way those mines are. So what we want to do is to get a bulk sample to see the real value of the grade that would be. So that will be done in spring. So right now we're just applying for bulk sample. We don't know yet the size of it, between 4,000 to 10,000 meters. So bulk sample will give us a potential open pit, would I say, because now we see that the gold is at surface. We think that it might be started by open pit, but all those very high grade vein, like let's say 46 gram over 3 meters going at depth, then it can be another ground. So, but the thing is, get the bulk sample, see what would be an open pit grade potential. That will be something. And then having all those target defined, then we're going to drill the horseshoe. The next drill pattern will be from 100 meters to 250 vertical, because the first 100 meters is pretty well controlled. We can re-drill it, but we won't bring so much new information. I'm not fan to do infill drilling, because I prefer to find more stuff, new like extension at depth or finding more. Because even if you have two holes like 25 meters and you put a hole like 12, at the stage that we are, we don't have a lot more new information. It's better to get deeper. So because we drill only the first 100, would be next drilling program, let's say 100 to 250 on the lengths. But also we are hoping to launch what we say the school drilling program on the Jaguar and the Cougar, because we always start with, let's say, a 2,000 meters of drilling, just to have our own holes, our own, idea. And then if it's worth it, then we're going to launch the 10,000 on the other lens. So next year will be a pivotal year for recovery, grade, and then like depth extension of the lengths. And hopefully we always do about 10% of the budget on finding new lands. Let's say this year we had a $5 million budget, so we apply about $500,000 to strip the Jaguar, to strip the Cougar, to do soil survey, and get always like a 3 years kind of program strategy. Always brand new stuff. You might have noticed we just take more claim. So this is very early stage. We don't even know where to go on it, because it was really strategic. But then we have grassroots places on the Williams Brook to be ready for trenching next year. So there's place this summer that we're just doing prospecting and mapping. So next year, those places, if it's worth it, we're going to do trenching and then stripping. So always having brand new news, but also work to understand more. And at the end game would be to really confirm a gold, economical gold deposit at surface. But you know what? I won't never drill 400,000 meters of drilling to confirm gold, let's say from 300 meters to 500 meters, because let's say that if you're looking for an open pit, you won't never
Yeah.
go that. So, for sure, sometimes you give really great holes at the market, but at the end of the day, we want to build a mine. We don't want to just give news to the market to get a good stock price and get the great salaries. I'm really want my mine. So, for me, I have skin in the game, because I'm one of the biggest like shareholders of the company, and I put all, my investment into Puma. So that's really, I believe in it. So
No, well said. And I mean, I think that you're totally right, right? I think sometimes too much emphasis is placed by retail on assays, right? That, met testing and bulk samples, those are arguably just as important, if not more important, in terms of understanding if this is actually has the potential to become a mine, right?
yeah,
Not just sexy, not just a sexy headline, right? And then same thing, right? I mean, this is one of the big selling points for Puma is that, you're all, right, everything so far released is within 100 meters of surface. You're not going down half a kilometer where it's going to be this big giant underground mine. I mean, this is an open pittable thing. You're open at depth at 100 meters. You can go down to 300 meters and still have an open pit mine. So I mean, there's just so much meat on the bone, so much potential left as is, right? So no, I appreciate that. So this is going to be, next question is going to be hypothetical to a certain degree, but maybe I'll rephrase it as such as, how many meters do you want to get into the ground before you release a resource? That's the question I'll ask you.
Yes, I think, we did 10,000 meters of drilling. I would say another 10,000 would be enough to start doing it. The other question is, do we want to do it? I'm not sure, because already with the first 10,000 meter, we know what we have, to be honest. On the back of the napkin, we know what we have, and it's going to stay on the back of napkin because we use that as mostly an exploration, strategy to know what it is. And then, if we want to get out resource estimate, I would say in 2024. So at least, getting what we need to know is the recovery. That's what we're doing. And, as I said, like between 90 and 120 days to get those. Then the bulk sample will be another 3-4 months to get. So if we take it in April, it's going to take up 2023 will be pivotal to confirm the recovery, confirm the grade, and drill deeper. All that together, then we might go to the market and we see. So, but there's other stuff that we can do as well at surface. So we try, as if possible, to have some better gravity recovery. So get a fast track permitting to be a fast track in production. So that's a little bit Puma what we're looking for. And having drilled those systematic hole, we have a pretty great control of the mineralization up to 100 meters. But what people doesn't really understand is those surface grab sample. Some people say, oh, it's all selective. Yeah, but when you take 5,000 sample and they are all like taking 1 meter, 1 meter, 1 meter, that's pretty systematic, and that would be mine. This is the first thing, when we say to the people, we have, let's say, 200 grams gold at surface, it's going to be the first bucket to be sent to the mine because it's right there. So, that's important information. That's important resources, gold resources that they are right there at surface.
And that's, yeah, and pardon me, and that's the thing is critical too, right? I sometimes will badger companies wanting a resource that don't provide it because I find that, okay, because they are at depth, because it is deep, and so that the economics are extremely important about, can you actually extract this in an economical fashion where it becomes a deposit? I mean, at surface, I still always love reading a good 43101. That's always money. I love reading a good PEA or PFS, but when it's at surface, the questions of economics are a lot easier to swallow, right? Or a lot less controversy around how to actually make it economical, right? So no, I can appreciate that.
Yeah, but the thing is, that's just mathematics. That's simple math. What is the value in it? How much you recovered and how much it costs to take it out. So sometimes, you don't need to have a big elephant. For sure, we're not Eagle or another big company. So, we cannot compare a major, deposit. But sometimes economics make all the difference. And just another gossip here, I've been working back for nickel project. And we're so excited because we had 1% nickel in it. But then when we did the first recovery test, recovered only 40% of it. So, that's a huge difference, totally different than gold. And also to sell the project to make the people understand what we have. To be honest, gold, it's a lot easier. People understand gold. They understand ounces by ton or gram by ton. Recovery is pretty simple. It's not like when I was talking about zinc. Even when I was talking 5% zinc, nobody really understands what it means. It's not enough for mine. What would be the cost of a mill because you might have 3 different concentrate, how much recovered.
Yeah.
So now it's gold. When you have 30 grams gold, that is high grade gold. And then that will be the way to explain a little bit the project.
No, excellent. And honestly, Marcel, we've come to the end of it here. It's been an interesting and enlightening conversation. I thank you for that. I guess I'll give you the chance at final words, though. Parting thoughts.
Yeah, thank you, Matthew. No, I really appreciate. I really like those type of interview when I see it more like like a conversation than just answering question. And what I would say to people, stay tuned because we have a lot more news to come. Puma, really great jurisdiction at surface, high grade, and if you want to follow a company that they build a mine, because we're not finding a mine, we're building a mine, just follow the story. And as you said earlier, we've been up to 50 cents, and it was, a good price to get in a year ago. Imagine at 20 cents, how it's a nice opportunity to buy a share and be part of the story. Because if you're a Puma shareholder, you're going to feel like you're part of the team and you help us to build that mine.
Excellent. No,
Yeah.
thank you, Marcel. And you're definitely a story I'm going to be paying attention to in the coming months and coming years. For our listeners, thanks for tuning in as well. And if you want more information on Puma, you can go to their website at explorationpuma.com. Lots of good information on there. As for me, you can find me under the name Junior Resource Investing on Spotify, YouTube, or your other, your favorite podcasting hosting mechanism. Marcel, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Matthew. Now I have to go back and remove the snow.
Yeah, exactly. Enjoy the winter wonderland.